If you don't do the healing work, you become like them. Mm-hmm. If you don't figure it out soon enough, and you know, because I know for me, whenever I left, I had that thought process of like, I'm never gonna let anyone hurt me like that again. Like, and I thought to myself like, or walk all over me again. Yeah. Like, I thought to myself, maybe I should be like that, so I don't get hurt. Yeah. You know what I mean? I remember that. Barrier. Right. Yeah. So I think like for the girl, I don't even know. The first year, I definitely was like very big wall. Mm-hmm. Didn't want to let anyone in. Didn't want to communicate about things. And I'm pretty sure I was mean.
Yeah. That's the story behind this one.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. This was my era of
that's the story behind this one.
I'm never gonna let anybody like Black Widow that shit, like leave me the fuck alone. Like
and it took a lot of like being self-aware, making the changes that I needed to within myself, because I learned a lot of toxic stuff from that marriage that I was not trying to take into my marriage now. Yeah. So
a lot of intention.
I knew I needed to fix the way I thought about things. Any triggers, like I needed to heal, and get rid of, you know, best as possible any triggers, like if that included people. You know what I mean? Anybody that was associated, getting rid of them. Like, that block button is my best friend. Like, anybody that tried to like reach out to me or speak on that at that time, like block. I don't have any time to deal with that. Like, I'm trying to be my best me, and you are not going to sit there and ruin that for me. And or like there's just so many different triggers. You know, you could be watching a show, you could be watching a movie. Like, if I knew that movie was going to trigger me, I turn it off. Yeah. Because I knew that I was not healed enough to watch that scene yet. Yeah. Or, but yeah, it takes a lot of healing work, to come out of that. And I'm like, I can imagine for women that have stayed for 40 plus years, 10 plus years, 20 plus years, or even men. Like, I could just imagine the healing work that you have to do, how long it's going to take till you're you again. And that's where I'm at. Like, I'm finding myself again, and I love that so much.
I was going to say, isn't that so much fun?
It's beautiful. Like,
I'm kind of a cool person.
Yeah, like, I love that for me. Like, I found me again. Yeah. And it's like...
Yeah.
I reinvented myself into who I wanted to be, who I know that I am. And now, you know, as I've grown into the woman that I am, I know that, you know I have a sense of self. I've created my sense of self. Yeah. And there's nothing that anyone can say that can make me believe anything otherwise of who I know I am. Yeah. And at that, you know, at the time when I left, I had such low self-esteem, you know, like, from everything I was told. I mean, there's just, it was called All the Names in the Book. There's always comments on my appearance that used to be triggering, and now it's like, I healed so much of me. Like, if I could go back to those years, I would hug me. I know I didn't deserve that. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it made me the woman I am today.
Unapologetically, too.
Yes,
I think
unapologetically.
That's the best feeling, where it's like, I'm never going to dim myself for anybody ever again. It's almost like you just...
Yes, I'm going to live on this. I'm living in my truth. Yeah. I am standing on what I say, on what I do, and this is who I am. And if you don't like it, I don't care. Yeah, kiss my ass. Like, I'm still going to
I worked so hard to get here.
Yes, I worked way too hard to get here for anyone to take me back to who I used to be. Like, I'm just at a point in my life where it's like, I'm 30 years old. Like, I know who I am. Yeah. And y'all done messed up because you, even though tried to bring me down, I rose above all of it. All of it. And, you know, it was hard. It was hard. But baby, I rode with them punches, and I got out alive, and I won, and that is the most amazing feeling. At the end of the day, so
stronger, bigger, badder than before.
Facts. That part.
But there is like a before, during, and after. You know?
And let me tell you, I'm so glad to be in the after.
Yeah.
Because the during and the before. I look back and just my thought process.
Yeah.
The way I thought about myself. The way I was so I had anxious attachment. Like
same.
Yeah, I did. And I didn't even know that I had that.
I literally just barely learned about that a few years ago.
Yeah, anxious attachment. Yeah. I didn't even know that I had that for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And I figured it out and I was like
Did you ever wonder, did you ever have moments where you were like, why am I, why do I this is
your body, it just, goes into this shock, you can't explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't, you just don't.
Google it.
Yeah.
Or go to TikTok.
Good for you if you don't know. But yeah, it is a very physical thing. It's so much more than just this emotional or mental
very physical
state.
I'm talking about I would have a whole anxiety, just meltdown.
Somebody punches through your stomach.
Dude.
All the way to the bottom.
Yes. And then my body would get cold and I would feel clammy and and then
almost have to throw up.
Yes, feel nauseous and then have all of these
racing thoughts.
Yes, and it was the same over and over and over and over again, thinking about, oh my gosh, it was wild.
Yeah.
Until I figured it out and I was like, oh, that's what's going on. Yeah. So when you figure it out, then you know the triggers and then you know how to fix it.
Well, and I think too, a lot of people get to a point where they're able to identify their triggers, but they're still at that state where they're these are my triggers, so don't trigger me. There's so much that goes into healing. It's not just being able to identify a lot of this stuff. It's it's exhausting. It's a very long, tedious, and even I don't think anybody ever actually heals. You're not ever
completely
healed.
Nope.
You are always in a cycle of healing.
Right.
It's just a process, so many different parts to it.
Yeah, I'm at 50% now. Don't mess with me. We can easily go back. Right.
Don't let me regress, please. Yes, no regression.
I'm not at 80 yet, okay? Yeah. No. I would say I feel genuinely, I actually am, I want to say at about 80. That's do, because it's taken me years to get here, because, and I only say that because I've already been put in situations where I could easily be who I used to be, but I haven't, and I don't. There was times when, just people would say certain names, or not even just certain names, but they're talking about you, or they're doing this and that, and it used to be bet I'm about to pull up.
Right, yeah.
Or I'm about to do a pop-up at their job. Whatever.
Yeah.
That was old.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, right? You can fill up my cup of water here and we can talk. That was old me, and now it's I can walk by you and fart. I love that. Honestly, I'm at the point of my life where it's okay. So when you block someone on the internet, okay, so I feel like I'm in tune with my blocking, but in the real world.
Yeah.
You're blocked in real life. I can walk right by you.
Yeah.
And you mean absolutely nothing to me. Yeah, it's
doesn't even faze me.
No.
Anymore. Yeah.
Not even phased. It's crazy, but I felt like I.
Were you kind of surprised, the first time that were you huh? Yeah. Nothing happened.
Yes.
I didn't even feel.
I was, but that's how I knew I healed.
Yeah.
But also, I learned that the only way to heal that way is to go no contact.
Oh yeah.
No contact, because if you have contact, of course, there's still going to be those triggers that keep, popping up. But once you go no contact, it's so much easier because your mind is clear. You're actually thinking before you speak or before you act. So it's if you're put in a situation that you used to be put in, now it's like, well, that just takes too much energy. Why would I do that? You know?
Yeah.
Versus, you know, when you're not healed, you don't think, you just act.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And narcs are really good at like poking until you know they get a reaction, because they want your reaction. They thrive off your reaction. Also, they want to be like, see, I told you she was crazy, or he was crazy, or you know what I mean. They want to do that, and that's so evil.
Yeah, it is.
And distasteful and just
yeah,
you know. But I feel like once you've done so much healing, like it just doesn't even like phase you. It doesn't matter. It's like especially when you're 30, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a good look to be like being an ugly person at 30 years old. So and just to clarify, me telling my truth is not being ugly. Just to clarify.
Speaking the truth.
Exactly.
These are facts.
Now, whether if it hurts others, that's not my problem. That's a you problem, and you have to fix that and ask for forgiveness, not me. I'm good where I'm at. I love the fact that like I've gotten this far, like to like be able to speak, because you know it took a few years to finally get here. But
well, and then too, like, I think that when you go through these things and deal with a person like that, you do almost live in this state of fear of living and being in your truth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
also because like they're the type of people, like narcs are the type of people that if you tell your truth, or if you are true to yourself, if you are happy, like after you leave, whatever, they retaliate.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, they're the type of people that they will retaliate. Like they don't want to see you happy. They don't want to see you thriving. They don't want to see you be successful. They don't want to see someone love you. Like in their eyes, you don't deserve any love. Like you left. You discarded the discarder. So now it's like, I'm gonna punish you. You know what I mean? And once you start telling your truth, it pisses them off, because you know people will see them for who they really are, and it's like that should be, if that makes you upset that people see you for who you really. Maybe you shouldn't fucking do it. Maybe you shouldn't do it, or maybe go check yourself into therapy. And fix those things. But they're not the problem, so they're not gonna do that.
I couldn't tell you how many times, like, I would be told to, like, delete that or take that down, or why are you saying that, or whatever. And I'm like, because it's true. We obviously have this podcast, but, like, I think that there's so much awareness that has to be brought to these cycles and tactics and whatever. Not the only ones.
Right. That's what that's saying. People need to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
People need to know that they're not alone, that, you know, even, like I said, men can go through these types of situations also, but they need to know that there's ways out, you know, that there is, you know, a rainbow at the end of your storm.
Yeah. That's like my biggest thing.
You know, there is hope.
It gets better.
It does get better, and there is hope. And, you know, between, you know, if they're going through it now and reaching that rainbow, there is things that they can do to cope. Yeah. Learn how to cope. Not only learn how to cope, but, you know, learn yourself. Yeah. Learn yourself so that you're able to heal. These things do need to be brought to light. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many parents have came to me and said, okay, well, you know, how did you do this? Or please keep sharing. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm scared to share. Yeah. And they're like, no, please keep sharing. Yeah. Please, because it helped me. Yeah. I finally realized, and I finally left, or, you know, I've heard so many of those different stories, and I'm just like, I remember I used to think to myself, why? God, why me? Like, why me? Why me? And now I feel like, well, I carried it, and I know that the outside world might see it like she carried that so well. But I did not. It was very hard to carry it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I went through that. I got through it. So why wouldn't I help someone else get through that? Like, yeah, because, I mean, I would have loved for someone to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, this is what we have to do. Like, you're going to be okay. It's fine. I know you don't see it now, but you'll see it in a year or two, maybe 10, like me. But, you know, like...
And everybody's does look different.
Yes, I would have loved to have that, but I felt like a lot of people did not understand me because a lot of people don't understand narcissistic abuse. I mean, if sharing helps others, then and being vulnerable, because being vulnerable takes so much work, and it takes a lot out of you to be vulnerable. Like, it takes courage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
a lot.
It's not a bad thing to be vulnerable at all. I feel like it also opens up, you know, doors and helps other people be able to be vulnerable. Yeah. Also. Yeah. And I think everyone needs a safe space to be able to do that especially in order to heal. Yeah. So,
what would be probably your top 3 things of advice for a mom who is in an actively abusive relationship, and is wanting to or needing to get out? What are the top 3 things you would tell her?
Top 3.
I know it's kind of a small
list. Yeah, it's hard. Well, it's hard because, like, when you're with someone who's abusive, most of the time they don't let you work. If you can work, or if they do let you work, then they're usually controlling also, so they're going to want to know how much you're making. Yeah. Or how much you're bringing home.
Or make you put it in the same bank account as
or make you put it in the same, my advice, I know this sounds bad, but hide your money. Like, what, or theirs, whatever. Like, technically, if you're married, it's yours too, so. Yeah. Like,
yours, mine, ours.
I mean, you put a little bit aside. A little bit aside, so if there's a time when you have to escape in the middle of the night, I mean, because there's no telling when an abuser will abuse you. It could be in the day, 6 a.m., or in the middle of the night. So if you need to leave, you have something, you know what I mean? And always, always have someone that you can call. Yes. If it's not family, a friend. If it's not a friend, like, a neighbor, like someone that you can call and tell, like, or run to their house to get away. Always have, like, a little bag with, like, some kind of clothes. Put it aside. Like, if you have, like, an entry door closet, set one in there, and then keep important documents in there, like socials, birth certificates, because I say that because when you leave an abuser, they become so angry that they destroy everything that is yours. I mean, I had my straighteners, cords cut, clothes cut, gosh, I can't even, my makeup ruined, like, leaving. Like, I had, even my kid stuff was ruined. Like, I remember that. So, you want to keep your important documents together, and have that ready to go. So, like, if you are in a situation where they are, like, about to physically hurt you and just, like, you're scared for your life, you can grab your bag and go. Yeah. And be ready to go. Have whoever you're going to contact. If you don't have anyone to contact, then you get in contact with Safe Place. Because that would be the first.
Or a women's shelter.
Yeah, or a women's shelter. And they usually can have someone to pick you up. Yeah. So,
they can help you plan your exit.
Yes, they help you. And then when you get there, you'll have somewhere to sleep. Your kids will have somewhere to sleep. They'll have food to eat. They have, like, a little daycare where you put the kids while you go look for work. They give you rides to work, so you can collect your money. And then, whatever you use with that money, you can either move back with family, because majority of the time, abusers also move their significant other away. They alienate them from their family. So that way it's harder.
And or friends.
And or friends,
It is completely understandable if you feel like, or you don't have anybody. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I like that idea of the women's shelter too.
Yes, so
I was very lucky. I felt like I had like 2 people. That was all I had. That's all I had.
there was a time I was almost staying in my friend's car.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I refuse to go back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if I have to sleep in here. I refuse to go back and lay my head next to that person.
Yeah.
The women's shelter, they provide all that stuff. I mean, there's even, like, I know in Midland, there's Fair Havens. But Fair Havens, you have to have your GED or have graduated high school.
Yeah, there's a little bit more stipulations
Into the, yeah. So they give you like a little apartment, and then they help you get on your feet, and they might even help you get through school. I can't remember, because I dug into that. And I've also had like people that come into like my work and stuff ask me those types of questions. So I know Fair Havens does, they help. Safe Place helps. But like I said, you want to have somewhere to go, or think about where you're going to go, have a plan, and then who you're going to contact. If you're going to contact someone, have your bag ready. If you can get the keys and leave, get the keys and leave. Yeah. Like, deal with the extra calling and being upset that you're gone later. Just go. Yeah. Like, especially if you know that your life is like on the line, and I
got to the point where I quit putting my keys where I usually do. I started putting them in a non-obvious different place than I usually would. That way,
so he couldn't snatch him and hide him from you.
Right.
Yeah. Yep, because they do that. But there's that, and then I know, like, for myself, I know I was put in situations where you're like blocked, like you can't, standing in front of you, and like that. In that type of situation, I would try to de-escalate it, like tell them what they want to hear. Yeah. Tell them what they want to hear, and then until they get calmed down, and then when they get calmed down, leave. Because that calmness is only going to stay for so long, and they're going to do it all over again. And but definitely would say that. And then, like I said, keep some money to the side if you can, or if you're working, put some to the side, and then call if you do have family, make the arrangements to get picked up. Or that's what I remember at one point. I had my aunt, she drove, she lives in Pecos. She drove from Pecos all the way down here to Midland, and I had all my stuff packed.
Yeah, you were ready to
pick me up. Ready to go. Like, and I remember that person was like sitting in the kitchen crying with a gun and like a bottle of alcohol, and I was just like,
secondhand embarrassment.
I was like, you're not gonna make me stay. Like, that's not gonna make me stay. And I will say it took me about a good 7 times to finally be like, I'm done. Like,
I feel like that's pretty typical.
Yeah, because I did go back. I did go back. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, well, like, when I was young. Like, why do you keep going back? Why do you keep going back? First of all, there's the trauma bond that's created. Second of all, you throw a kid in the mix, a baby, and then you get married. Oh my gosh, it's so much harder to just leave. Like,
well, and there's so much mom guilt. Just 2020 hindsight, but like, all you want for your kid is a happy family and to have both parents that are raising them.
Especially if
there's so much involved when it comes to
and especially if you come from like a household where you didn't have a bio. Like, so if you didn't have your bio mom or you didn't have your bio dad, like, that's the first thing that you want. You want to be able to give your kids that. Yeah. So it sucks when the reality of it is sometimes that, they're just not good for the kids, and they're honestly better off being out of the picture completely, and so somebody else will come in and love them as their own. Like, that's honestly, that's the best thing, in some situations, like them not having anything to do like with them, because they're safer. If anything, they're safer. And they're gonna, if anything, like, keeping that parent or staying with that person is just going to create more confusion and trauma.
Yeah.
In the long run. And then guess what? Then we have it repeats itself, you know, the generational trauma. Like, it keeps going and going until you finally find, you know, your strength to be like, oh, no, this isn't going to happen. Yeah. Like,
it ends here.
It ends here, and it's not going to, you know, pour into my kids' lives. Or, like, at least if you're going to leave, like, they're little, and you can help them heal as they get older, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus where if you stay, then they see the dysfunction in the family, they see the abuse, and they grow up thinking that it's okay, and then boom, they end up with someone that does the same thing to them, like, or they become the abuser, you know? So it can honestly go either way.
Yeah. You have to be very determined.
You do.
To make it end.
Yeah. Well, I always say, like, what I got through, when people say, like you did great, you got through that. Like, I've always said, no, I did not get through that by myself. Yeah. Like, if it was not for God, I would not have got through that at all. Like, it was a higher power. It was not just me, because if it was just me, I probably wouldn't be here, to be honest with you. But because, you know, even when I felt like I had no one, I had him. So through prayer, you know, it got me to where I'm at today. Like, God has helped me get here, and I will always say that. Yeah. And give him all the credit, because if it wasn't for him,
not by my power,
right, by his, I would have not got this far at all. A lot of people, like, don't think that emotional and mental abuse is as bad as physical, and it's like, it's just as bad. It's just as bad, I promise. You just cannot. You can't see the wounds, but there are people walking around with those wounds, and they take forever to heal, like years. So it is, you know, it's just as bad as physical abuse, and I wish more people knew that, like, and stop making it to where it seems like that stigma, like, well, it's not as bad as physical, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people think that, like, they're scared, parents, like, that are scared to fight for their kids in court, or show, like, there's been a mental and emotional, because they feel like it's not gonna matter because it's not physical. But I wish
it's not gonna be taken as seriously. It's not as serious.
Yes, that's what I meant. Like, so I wish that would, like, people would stop thinking like that, because I know whenever I was fighting for mine, I thought, there's no way in hell that someone that is licensed is telling me that this is happening to mine, and I'm gonna let it keep happening. There's no way in hell I'm gonna let it keep happening. Because either I'm gonna fight in this courtroom, prove it, and show it, and make sure that this person has to have some sort of consequences, whether there's supervised visits, or they need to do mandated therapy, or their rights are stripped. It's going to be something. Because if something doesn't happen, and I'm fighting legally, and I am proving it, eventually something bad is going to happen. Where it's either the child is going to hurt that person, that person is going to hurt the child, or the other parent, which, like, was me in that situation, is going to hurt the other parent. Because
one way or another, you're not going to do this to
like, my kid. One way, you're not, So I wish more people knew that, like, don't be afraid, like, put your littles in therapy.
I am 37 years old and still sorting out the trauma I experienced as a child. Like, that is so impactful. And, like, I'm glad my mom realized stuff when she did, but, like, there's trauma that you cannot undo. It really is. Either you get it or you don't.
Right.
Because you've experienced it yourself, but like you can't possibly comprehend.
And for those that you don't, like,
yeah, good for you.
Yes, good for you. Like, low key jelly,
right? Yeah.
Like, and I hope you never have to.
Yeah,
never have to endure that because
yeah.
it's not a good feeling. But yeah, it is shitty because you think about it and it's like, okay, first of all, I didn't ask to be born.
Yeah.
Second of all, like, I had to endure all of this,
yeah.
and then I get married, endure it again.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah.
Now I gotta, like, heal twice as much.
Yeah. Literally.
That's beautiful. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I am glad that you're very self-aware. So, you know, that's a big part of the healing process is being self-aware. And, like, it is crappy that we have to go through these types of situations, but like you said, that's why we're here is to know that, or to show other people, and so that they know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
Like they're not, there's other people that are going through it, and essentially we can literally help each other. And
or even too, like, even if you're not at the point where you realize what's going on, at least hearing other people's experiences, I think, and that was, I think, kind of a big thing for me, was hearing other people's experience and kind of putting, like, basically 2 and 2 together and being like, well, that sounds really familiar to what I'm dealing with, and maybe this is why I feel so crazy, or, like, you know, whatever. Like, it sometimes it does take hearing somebody else's experience to realize, even. Right. Even if you're not aware yet. I
feel like the reason why I share my experience mostly is because to give a sense of hope. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, because I know that there's someone out there that's like, feels like they're drowning and is like, I'm never going to get out of this cycle. Yeah. Like, or maybe they're at the point where they're like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just want people to know that it does get better. Like, you have to fight for yourself, though. Like, you have to stand up for yourself. You have to create those boundaries. There's just so much that goes into the healing, girl. Like, I don't even know where I would start. Yeah, no. Being self-aware, though, is so important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so important because that's where you're like, okay, you know, I got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Where do I start? You know, versus being delusional. We don't want to be delulu.
No, it doesn't work out too well with this.
No, in fact, it may get worse.
No, I think that there is that aspect of giving hope to others. And then I know for myself, I'm very much the type of person where it's like, where do I begin? Where do I go with this then? You know, and so that's why I really appreciate this aspect of your story where there's so much determination and resilience, where you were like, if I'm going down, I'm going down swinging. Like, I'm not
gonna lay here and just take it. Like, no, I'm swinging back.
Do whatever I need to do to make sure this does not. I'm not participating in this narrative you're trying to create, and not just in our co-parenting, whatever, but also like legally. You were like, I'm not.
Yeah. I had to
allowing this anymore.
I had to set boundaries legally. Yeah. I mean, like, see, I didn't even touch on that. Like, I had to do, you know, pickups and drop-offs at the police station. I had to request the Wizard app so that our conversations were recorded. I had to strictly stick to standard visitation, like days, times, because you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Absolutely.
And so I had to do that. You know, I still had to document everything. Again, like, this just brings me back to, like, I'm happy. I don't have to deal with this anymore. Like, I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. Sometimes I feel like I can't believe, like, I really got through that. It feels unbelievable. Yeah. Like, there's no, there's nothing attaching me to
Mm-hmm.
those people, you know, or my kids.
Yeah.
Like, my kids no longer have to deal with that, like, the meeting at the station, you know, feeling anxious. Because there was times where they didn't want to go and they almost wanted to throw up in the car.
Yeah.
And and my thing was like, why do you feel like this? And it was because of what they were enduring.
Yeah.
Why they didn't want to go, or why they felt so anxious to the point where they wanted to throw up, or you know, and that's where, you know, therapy came in, and thankfully that was very helpful. And you know, they were able to prove that there was some sort of emotional, mental, the abuse was there. The therapist was able to prove that, and the CPS caseworker. So with that alone, you know, there was going to be enough to have the supervised visits.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Which, that's amazing, because I feel like that's not very common.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible.
Right. Very possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, also, like, he didn't take an attorney this time whenever I went this very last time. Like, he tried to do pro se like I did. Except it didn't work the same way. So,
it doesn't work if you're being a piece of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
You can't do those things and then walk in there like...
Well, also, it doesn't work whenever there's people that are there to testify on behalf of your kids that you are, in fact, that.
Yeah.
So, like, and you are not what's in the best interest for them. You know what I mean? So, like, that again, that was, you know, a legal battle, but that's a whole nother conversation. Like, we can go into the adoption process, you know, what needs to be filed, how long does it take, the home visits they do, like, everything that goes into it. Like, there's just so much, like, waiting on the birth certificates, because Austin they be taking their sweet time.
They do. Yep.
But there's just so much that goes into, like, all of that. There's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Like, the legal aspect of, like, actually when you're in court dealing with a narcissistic person.
Yeah.
That for me, it was a 10-year battle.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. Like, I think I spent just about, altogether, I'm going to say about $30,000. Like, when is it going to end? He just agreed to terminate.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. I'm like,
over
really?
That? Of all the things that we just went through and did, and the back and forth, mandated therapies, did it for you?
Supervision also.
Wow, yeah.
Like, that's the thing about them. They don't want to be told, you're doing that wrong. Or
for their abuse to be witnessed by other people.
And brought to light. You know, because abusers, they abuse in the dark.
They're very undercover.
Yes. They don't do it where everyone can see it. And if they do it where people can see it, they only do it around people that enable their behavior.
Or that they can easily manipulate.
Facts. Yeah. The best day of my life. Like, I was just sitting there, and, you know, my attorney comes in, and he's like, well, guess we don't have to go in the courtroom. I was like, you seem very happy.
Yeah. What happened? Explain yourself.
What happened? He's like, don't even worry about it. You know, the rights are terminated. I was like, really? You know, I had a feel, like, so many feelings in that moment. Because it was like, happy not to deal with the bullshit anymore. Also, there's something that my kids wanted. They didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
Like, they were just afraid to even have the, because at a point after the mandated therapy, it was supposed to be family therapy. So he was supposed to be with them, not me.
Yeah.
It was him and them, and then later I would join. Because I had been saying, let's do this, but didn't want to do it. First of all, you just drug all of us through these years of trauma.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just the kids.
Yep.
It's, you know, it was my daughter with my husband, you know, not even, his kids on that side endured it also. Yeah. She endured it. Like, we all endured it because of one person. And it's like, you did all of that to just be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
like I said, I was happy, relieved, but also a little like confused and hurt, but not for me. You know, I was hurt more for the kids because I was like, you know, if you cared at all, you would have tried. Like, you would have put yourself in therapy with them, figured out what the situation or what changes needed to be made. Yeah. And then fixed it. But you chose not to. Yeah. You chose the easy way out.
Yep. I feel like they do. They have those moments where they do things and you're like, wow. Yeah. Wow.
Like, you don't think that they can go any lower than they already have. Yep. And it's like, damn, you can go that low? Yeah. Like, I didn't even know that existed. Like, but okay, do you, boo?
New record for you.
Yeah, new record. You know? New record, do you, boo? Because, we good. Yeah.
All right, then.
We're done. Yes. But that does not mean I don't get to heal and speak my truth, because I will still do that, baby. I don't care if it pisses people off. Yes. At the end of the day, I'm going to.
Unbothered.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Sorry. But not sorry.
Exactly. Okay, so I do have another question then. Yes. And this might put you a little bit on the spot, so I'm sorry in advance. Okay. When would you like to, or when do you have a plan when it comes to kicking this whole thing off? Because I already told you this, but I'm really excited about this for you. I think this is so amazing.
I think for sure I gave myself a deadline. Okay. I gave myself a deadline, and by June, I would like to have my webpage up and going and be able to do all of that, and you know, like spread the word and let people know, like, you know, like, girl, guy, whatever. If you need me, I got you. Like, let me.
Your family court bestie.
Yes. I'll even go to court with you. Because I know what it feels like to go up there. All that anxiety and stuff. Like, I'll be there for you.
I remember sitting up, and you have to be up there by a certain time, and you could wait 2-3 hours until it's your turn. But you sit up there and you wait, and you just, everything's fine in your mind. I remember one time, like, sitting. He made a point to sit, because I got there
right across from you?
Right across from
you. You know why, right?
And I just remember, it's intimidation.
Intimidation tactics,
He wanted to scare me. I was laughing, though, because he brought his mommy with him. And I was like, that actually added, it's funny as fuck. I don't think it quite had the same effect that I think he thought it was going to, but, like, it almost, like, took the edge off that time, but I remember, like, you have, like, that pit in your stomach where you're just sitting there and you're like, how is this going to go? How is this going to go? Do I have everything? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to say the right thing? And, you know, And
then you don't, honestly, whenever you're dealing with an abuser, you don't want to look at them. You don't want to look at them. But you know how I know that I was done? And I had done a lot of healing?
You could look right in the eye.
I looked him right in that eye, both eyes, whenever I walked out of the restroom. Because when I was walking out of the restroom that day, our final court hearing, I remember sitting straight across the restroom. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. So, you know, I knew I feel like they all do this. They do that stare and that smirk. Like, they all do that, like that evil smirk. Like, so this time I was like, bet. So when I walked out, I like looked him straight in the eye, and I smiled, and I just kept walking, because that way he knows you don't intimidate me anymore. In fact, while I'm looking at you, I'm laughing in my mind, because I'm not who you think I am. Like, you're thinking that I'm the old me, and that's not me anymore. Yeah. And I'm not afraid of you. Yeah. I plan on doing everything in June, so I'm really excited.
I'm so excited for you. I think this is not only just for you, but also all of the people that you are going to have such a positive impact on, and the resource that I know you will be for others. I think, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like specifically in our area, because I think the need is so high and great, and like, I'm excited for you and the impact that you're going to have. So that makes me very excited for you.
I think I'm going to throw a little about me in there, too, just so that they know.
You should, absolutely.
Know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking about, like, what layout do I want? Like, you know, all those things.
Yes.
Like, I slowly started working on it, but, you know, life gets to lifing when you got 4 kids, you got a job, you got side hustles, you know, like, there's a lot of things to be done, and, you know, so.
Well, and especially when you have a certain age group of kids, too. I feel like you get, just family stuff, let's not even talk about, like, work and all the other stuff, like, that, it's a lot, so I absolutely get it. I do.
And, like, all mine usually are in an extracurricular activity. So it's always something. We're going somewhere. Someone has to be at some place at some time, or you know, like. And then, you know, I do go to work. I take my little one with me. So like I'm always. And then on the weekends, I just started doing the little sit and paints. I don't know if you saw that. But
yes, that's so cute. I love that.
Yeah, I started doing those, and I don't know. It's just been a year of trying new things. And I'm so excited. Like, finally putting myself out there.
Yes.
Seeing what I'm actually capable of. And not, you know.
Well, you should know by now that you're capable of anything. Yeah. But I love that you...
It's just the introverted part, you know, that freaks me out.
But I think when you go through something like that, it's so funny that you said that. Like, I do think you do dabble in, like, so many different things. It's almost like a whole new world opens up to you where, like, you are almost exploring all these different things.
Yeah, it's like, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. Like,
I think I would like that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. Let me try that.
Yeah, and that's what honestly helped me create my sense of self.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know my hobbies, what I like to do, and all those things. So, that's, like I always say, it's important to have that. Yeah. And to know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
But yeah, I'm
excited.
I think I have all of my things under my Facebook. Like, I have all my little links. I do go by Evie Fuentez Ortega. So under my name, I usually have, like, my links. I know I have the Instagram one, but I need to add my TikTok one.
Okay.
I am thinking about making a separate TikTok also. Like, just specifically for law stuff. Yeah. And, like, family law, divorce. Yeah. You know, talking about how to heal from narcissism. Yeah. Or just healing, period. And like coping skills, what coping skills to use. Yeah. Or what are coping. Some people don't even know what they are. Yeah. So, you know, going into detail with all that stuff. Yeah. I am thinking about doing that. So I think I might. And I'll just have everything kind of linked under my name. So. Okay. Yeah.
So I can tell people, I'm going to link her Facebook profile and everything so you can follow along with her on her journey with that. Have you decided on a name or anything, or like what for the website or whatever? Like, what are you?
No, I haven't. So if y'all have any ideas, message me. Yeah, I haven't really thought that far. Like,
it's a lot. There's so much that goes into it.
Know,
sorry.
I don't know.
I just need all the details. Like,
yeah, I didn't think that far, but you know what? Now I'm gonna think about it. But I don't know. But I'll figure that out. I mean, y'all can help me figure it out.
I was gonna say I'll put all her information down so you can follow her on Facebook and watch her journey, and then also when the time finally comes, go and like her website and page and whatever.
I'll definitely be linking that on there. So
yeah.
So,
Yay! Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
thank
you
for
having
talking with me.
That's very therapeutic.
Yes, I know, right? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.